Well, good morning. I want to welcome you all to this 2024 BBS Living and Learning Series session. And I'm so excited to have you here. I want to always begin these with a thanks out to Portsmouth, Ohio, Maysville, Kentucky, Grayson, Kentucky, Adams County, Chambers of Commerce, and the Ashland Alliance for supporting us in these and promoting these. And it is a delight to have you with me today. Our topic today is learning to say no. So I think we just all need to stop right now, wherever you are, and just say the word no. So you see, you can say it, and it's not that painful. And, but I wish it was just that easy, and that was the issue. But we're going to really dig into this morning. We're going to take 30 minutes. I think this potentially could be a game changer for you, a life changer for you. So I want to encourage you to really engage here. And with that, we're going to give you the rules of the game. Um, and I want you to really tune into this. This is an issue of ownership. This is an issue of your yes meaning yes and your no meaning no. This, my friends, is an issue of integrity and honesty. And we're going to talk about the plague of what I call people pleasing that is just rampant in the culture. And I'm calling you to a countercultural mindset. I'm calling you to a behavior and a mindset and a process that will be a bit out of sync with what's around you in this world of social media and being so hypersensitive to other people's opinions and judgments. I'm calling you to march from the commander within. I'm asking you to step up and take a full ownership, accountability, and responsibility for your life. That's what this is about today. It's going to be in a specific area, but that is the foundation. The participation, 100%. I'll send you the slide that has the points. I'll send you an article. So what I want you to do today is just if you have a way to just tune out everything around you and put all the activities for the rest of the day aside. Physically, if you can get it out of your eyesight, that's good. If you can get a little bit isolated and engaged and focused on today, this 30 minutes can truly change your projection, your life, your job, your relationships. That this can be huge. So the 100% in participation today is 100% engagement. A third, be curious. Don't be too skeptical today. You can always take this when we leave and apply it or not. That's your choice. But for now, be open-minded. And finally, this will be a fun topic because we're all, I'll use the word guilty. We're all subject to not being clear in our speech, to lacking integrity in our communication and in our actions. And this is going to be a call to a high standard, but a glorious standard, a standard of joy, a standard of clarity, a standard of high performance and achievement, a standard of great satisfaction and peace of mind. All those things are fruit of applying the principles from today. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. This is the slide today. What you're going to see here today are 4 points that I have to make and 4 questions. When I get to the questions, if you will sit with me today with those questions, your mind will shift. You will see things a bit differently in your life and you'll see a different path. So here goes. Point number 1. You cannot make other people happy. Now, I think we all kind of intuitively know that, but we certainly try. And I have coached with people for over 22 years, and some of them are so stressed trying to please everybody. It's just not possible. And there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, happiness does not come from outside. Happiness comes from inside. I make my own happiness. You're saying, Dave, that's really not fair. If you won the lottery, you'd really be happy. We've heard about lottery winners, a lot of miserable lottery members. They just winners. They just can't make decisions and they get confused. So the lottery can make some people really happy. It can make some people really miserable and actually shut their life down. So we have this sense or this belief that we all carry that when I feel bad, it's because of what's outside me. And when I feel good, it's because of what's outside me, and that other people can make me happy and that I can make other people happy. And I want to start here by saying happiness is an inside job, and it's foundational to this. That you don't make people unhappy when you say no, and you don't make people happy when you say yes. They choose to accept your response emotionally, and that's what's actually going on. When you have the belief that you can make other people happy, often you allow chaotic, disorganized, drama-filled people to run your life. Let me say that again. When you have the belief that you can make other people happy, you sometimes allow chaotic, disorganized, drama-filled people, maybe not the happiest bunch on the planet, to run your life. In other words, they bring you into their drama and their attitude. I'm suggesting and recommending, and even as your coach today, giving you permission to withdraw from that dynamic. And this is an issue of integrity, and it is an issue of leadership. I do leadership coaching, and this is a huge distinction that creates a better leader. Somebody who doesn't believe that other people's response is their responsibility. In other words, you are a human being that has a right to respond however you choose to. And I cannot force that. I can't make you do anything. What I can do is I can serve you, I can provide resources, I can be there for you, but what you choose to do with that is ultimately up to you. That first point is critical. I hope you just can marinate in it a bit and think a bit. You can't make other people happy. Think about how you've tried to do that in the past, or maybe you're trying to do that now, and how that can be so frustrating. All right, let's go to our next point. There's a plague. It's called people pleasing. When you hear these words, when you ask somebody to do something, you request something from someone, and they say, well, I'll try to do my best. What does that mean? When you ask somebody how you're doing and what they think of you, and you get vague responses, what does that mean? You know, if you have a beautiful recipe and it's got some spice and it's got some taste, and you just fill it with sugar, and then all you can do is taste the sugar, the beauty and the wonder of the recipe gets lost. The fact is that folks today are plagued with people pleasing. They are so focused on trying to make other people happy that they are not being honest. They are not being clear. They are not being straight. They are not speaking directly. And my folks, I just want to tell you today that unclear is unkind. Being clear and direct and straight with people is an act of kindness. Being unclear, being vague, sugaring things up to the point you can't really taste the recipe. In other words, adding so many social niceties and apologies and I'm sorry to everything, being so nice to people that they can't hear what you're saying is a disservice to them. I've heard of the story of the guy who had an alcoholic uncle and he was thirsty and he begged him for a martini. So he wanted to take care of his uncle. So he went and got him his martini. Was he helping his uncle? No, he was pleasing. He was trying to make his uncle happy, but he truly was not serving his uncle or helping him. This is the plague. I got some questions for you. By the way, I'm a people pleaser sometimes. I'm a work in progress. All of us are. But here's a question. In that situation where you think you may be people pleasing, are you being bold or are you having some fear? People pleasing is based in a fear of other people's opinions, of their assessment, of their happiness. Do you tend to be an open person, a transparent person, or a guarded person? Do you communicate with clarity and directness? Are you a little bit cloudy and murky? Are you fearless and confident when you're talking about things and giving opinions and ideas and thoughts and directives? Are you anxious? You know, sugar may taste good, but it's deadly. We live in a rampant of diabetes and other issues. We know sugar is not the healthiest substance, but just because something tastes good and looks good doesn't mean it is. People pleasing. I'm suggesting to you this morning that it's a plague. It's the reason people don't use the word no, because it's not a pleasing word. It's an uncomfortable word. It draws a line in the sand. It makes things clear. Hope you're just taking all this in. It'll all come together here in a minute. Just stay with me. Now we're going to talk about the beautiful word no. If I'd asked you before today, is no a beautiful word? You'd probably say, probably not one of my top 10 favorite words. It's become one of my top 10 favorite words. The word no is so definitive. The word no is so clear. And the word no is powerful when it's used with the word yes. Now, I want you to think a minute about how yes and no make great partners, but that if you take them away from each other, they lose their power. Yes and no define each other, just like light and dark. You know, light is defined by the absence of darkness. North and south, you take a bar magnet. You can cut that magnet into pieces, but you still got a north end and a south end. There are things that are paired up that go together. Yes and no are meant to be together. They define each other. And if I want my yes to be powerful, I need to have it in a land of no. In other words, let me be practical so this starts to make some sense. If you want my help, you want me to do something, you want me to invest some money or you want me to invest some time with you, if I typically say no, when I say yes, you believe it because I don't use yes as often. No is more my default. And we'll get into some of the issues about, well, what if you're in a job, Dave, and you have a boss? You can't say no to your boss. We can talk about that here in a moment, but I just want you to stay with me that people are so afraid to be clear about boundaries these days. They're afraid to be bold and fearless and state, no, I will not do that. No, I cannot do that. No, I choose not to do that. No is a clear, definitive word. And here's what a good no brings. It brings peace. It brings security because people know where things are. When you say maybe, or I'll try, or we'll get around to it, there's no security in that. People are overwhelmed nowadays. I don't know if you've noticed there's a plague of overwhelm. It's because people are not clearly speaking to each other. I'm going to make another statement here about the word no. Being less committed is more powerful than being more committed. What do I mean by that? I think when we say yes less often, we're more powerful because our yes means something. When I say yes to you, I will do this, I will do thus and such, or this is what I see. In other words, when I'm speaking from integrity, you know, with a person that is not a yes person, that they are being honest with you. You can trust their word. They're going to be very clear about their yes and their no. You're not going to get vague answers. They're laser focused. A person who knows how to use the word no has learned how to choose what's best. There are good things and there are great things. If you say no to the good so you can have the great, that's powerful. In other words, using the word no upgrades the quality. It upgrades the power. It's a beautiful word. Practically speaking, I'm talking very much philosophically right now. Practically speaking, start to use the word more often. Start to look for opportunities to say no. It is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be clear with someone. Where before you might have been a little vague or a little hesitant, or you're trying to be a pleaser, you're not trying to hurt feelings, try to use the word. Now, I'm very much a believer in doing things in kindness. I don't think we need to be rude with our no or harsh with our no, but I think we can say it very clearly and have no mistaking about what we're saying. Let's move on to something else. This cure for people pleasing. I call it kind candor. Today I'm offering an article on that, a 3-page article on kind candor. What is kind candor? Two words that in a lot of people's minds don't actually go together, but it's being very clear and direct and honest in our speech, and also at the same time very kind. They can work together. You can be very respectful, very compassionate, very supportive, and very kind, and also very clear. In other words, you can say the word no and not be harsh and mean. But remember, that other person's response and their happiness and their reaction to that is not my business. My business is to speak honestly, truthfully, and kindly. That's what I have control over. Speaking directly and clearly is a great kindness and a great respect. I respect you enough to tell you the truth. I respect you enough not to sugar it up and filter it to the point that you don't understand what I'm saying. I believe you can take it. I believe that you will take it. I believe that you want honesty from me. Strong values based on principles are what found this. In other words, this is the root of this. You will use the word yes and no and be clear if you have clear values. What do I mean by that? When you know where you're coming from and you know who you are and what you stand for, you can say yes and you can say no with confidence because you know where you stand. We're not talking about being arrogant and stubborn. We're not talking about being a butt and being just really hard to get along with, or just proud, and I've got it all together and I've got all the answers. We're not talking about that attitude. That's just immature foolishness. We're talking about clearly knowing what your values are, clearly knowing what's acceptable and what's unacceptable, and stating that to folks. It's living inside out. It's living in integrity. The word integrity is an interesting word. The root word is integer, a whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, versus fractions. It's not being double-minded. It's not being vague. It's not being unsure. It's being very clear. It's the opposite of people pleasing. A people pleaser just tells you what you want to hear and tries to imply certain things to communicate. And the unclear communication leads to a lack of team, a lack of cohesiveness, and we really can't together. A leader that speaks clearly, calmly, directly, and kindly is the person that people will follow. They feel secure. They know what the boundaries are. They know that that person's yes means yes and their no means no. They can count on it. They can be accountable to it because it's clear. I hope you're seeing the distinction between people pleasing and serving. I think good service is the opposite of pleasing. Service is giving people what will serve them and help them. It's not always what makes them happy in the moment. It's not always what pleases them in the moment. It's not always what makes them feel comfortable in the moment. A no is not comfortable. A no demands a response. Because it's clear. It puts a boundary. It puts a stake in the ground. It draws a line in the sand in a sense. And so it begs to be discussed and talked about. If we say maybe, or I'll try, or I'll get around to it, or I'll do my best, what does that mean? It's not wrong to say those things. It's not wrong to be honest and say, well, I'll do my best, but you can't count on it. If I say yes, you can count on it. If I say no, I'm saying it's not going to happen. And I think, my friends, that is kind candor. That is true service. That is a true encouragement to people. When they talk to you, they know they're getting the straight story. We certainly don't have to be harsh with it. We don't have to be mean with it, but we can be direct. Here's one more thought on that. What we're doing is we're declaring our identity and our intention inside, and then speaking and acting from that place. In other words, we are whole number. We are working, the inside matches the outside. There's no hypocrisy there. What you see is what you get. And I'm operating and working and responding and speaking and acting from my values, not from my desire to please other people and just make them happy, because I can't make other people happy. I hope you're seeing how this all goes together. I'm just downloading a lot in 30 minutes. You may want to go back and look at this again, and then listen to it again. So I'm going to take us to these questions. I've got 4 questions, and this is the power in the 30 minutes right here. We're getting ready to enter into the power zone. And if you will just, I'm going to read these questions and then let you sit with them for a few seconds. We'll have some pregnant pauses, some little awkward moments of silence, but I want you to take this question as I ask it, and then I want you to think about it as it applies to yourself. And I think you will come to some real great discoveries and future for yourself. So this first question, here's a statement. I need other people's validation and acceptance. Now, think of the statement. When you believe that, when you think that I need your validation, your acceptance, or I need other people's validation and acceptance, is that true? Is that thought true? Is it really true? Do you need the validation and acceptance of your boss? Do you need the validation and acceptance of your spouse? Do you need the validation and acceptance of your child? Do you need the validation and acceptance of anybody? Is that true? I'm challenging it. I don't think it is true. You don't need it. You may want it. You may crave it. You may be addicted to it, but you don't need it. It's not a need. You can live your life without that. Second, when you have that thought or belief that you need validation and acceptance from other people, how do you respond? When you're seeking validation and acceptance from others, I could say their happiness. You want to please them. How does that affect you? Do you become bolder or do you become more passive? Do you become clear or do you become more foggy? Do you have more honesty and integrity or less? How do you respond when you think that I need your validation, approval, and acceptance? Third question. This is an amazing one right here. Who would you be without that thought that you need validation and acceptance? I want you to walk through your week, through your day, through your relationships, through your work relationships, your leadership, the people you oversee and manage. If you didn't need their validation and acceptance, you didn't believe that any longer, you didn't think that any longer, who would you be that you're not being right now? It's a great question to consider. When I coach people, I ask them questions like this, and I get them to think about it, and we talk about it. And then this last question: how would you serve differently if you didn't expect validation and acceptance from others? Let's think about that again. How would you serve other people in a different way if you didn't expect them to validate or accept? In other words, their judgment and evaluation of your service is really none of your business. If you're coming from a place of integrity, you're coming from a place of doing the right thing, of doing quality and your best, and therefore, whether they validate or accept it, that's on them. How does that change your service? I want you to think about it. Who would you be without that thought? How do you respond with that thought? Is that thought true that you need other people's validation and acceptance? Folks, working through those questions and sitting with those questions and journaling on those questions and meditating on those questions will cure you of the people-pleasing plague. Now, that's an ongoing process, and we need to renew that from time to time. But I'll tell you what, once you make the step over the boundary, you will use the word no with great joy, because you know it's a serving word. It's not always a pleasing word, but it clarifies things. It's a kindness. It's not unkind. It's not always comfortable. Comfort is not the goal. Results are the goal. What we want to get done is the goal. Who we want to be is the goal. And if we want to be better than we've been, it's not going to be comfortable. So that's my challenge for you today. Now, I'm going to give you 3 offers today. I'll send you that slide so that you can look at those questions. I will also send you an article, that 3-page article on kind candor. It's a great specific application of these principles. It's 10 points on how to have kind candor. And third, I want an hour with you or with your team. No cost, no obligation, because this is my passion and my heart. 67 years old, my heart is to give back to people and bring this. So that's free upon request. I may put a little limitation on that. If you get a hold of me within the next week or so, I can find an hour to be with you or your team and talk about this issue. It's transformational for teams that are trying to cohese when they learn how to get rid of the pleasing and learn how to serve. So that's what we have for today. I hope you appreciate it. 30 minutes. We're a little bit early. I want you to really marinate in all this and think about it. And please contact me for those slides, for the article. And if you want to have a conversation, that's my greatest joy, is sitting down with people and coaching them in these matters. So we'll talk to you soon and see you next week. Go to the website. We got some more good things coming, but let's just focus on this one right now. Thank you.